La Biennale on Air. Welcome to La Biennale on Air, the official monthly podcast of La Biennale di Venezia. In under 30 minutes, we'll take you behind the scenes of our 130-year-old institution, uncovering both well-known and hidden stories. You'll hear from remarkable guests across all our disciplines: art, architecture, cinema, dance, music, theatre, and the historical archive. To understand the present, we need to revisit the past, so we'll bring you exclusive gems from our historical archives collections. But we're also looking ahead, spotlighting fresh perspectives and new voices. And yes, there will be surprises along the way. We'll kick things off by celebrating the visionary Franco Battiato with Arcipelago Battiato, a special project from our historical archive that honored the maestro on the occasion of his 80th birthday. Get ready to vibe out to his iconic tracks throughout the episode and hear Malika Ayane, the voice of this tribute, share her thoughts on stepping into Battiato's sonic universe. Next, discover Alter 3, a humanoid robot created by Takashi Kagami and Luc Steels for the 19th International Architecture Exhibition, curated by Carlo Ratti, and enjoy a first look at the 61st International Art Exhibition in Minor Keys. Then, Willem Dafoe, artistic director of the Biennale Teatro, reflects on Pier Paolo Pasolini's legacy 50 years after his death. We also have a real treat, a never-before-aired recording of Pasolini himself from 1974. Finally, step into the cinema for The Smashing Machine, Benny Safdie's Silver Lion-winning film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as UFC legend Mark Kerr. Packed with memorable moments, this is one episode you won't want to miss. This is La Biennale on Air. Buckle up.
Al mattino improvviso il sereno mi portava profumo di terra.
Born in Sicily in 1945, Franco Battiato was one of the most prominent Italian singers and songwriters, whose career influenced both the national and international music scene up to and even after his death in 2021. Arcipelago Battiato, a special project by the Historical Archive of La Biennale, in collaboration with the publishing company SZ Sugar, paid tribute to his avant-garde genius last week at the Arsenale's Teatro Alletese. Political, environmental, and experimental, Franco Battiato was never afraid to take risks, shaping cultural and social themes into profound and bold poetry, accompanied by soundscapes worthy of a maestro. Arcipelago Battiato featured groundbreaking pieces such as Pollution and Sequenze e Frequenze, Sequences and Frequencies, arising from his pioneering electronic experimentation with the first analog synthesizers. Among others, Come un cammello in una grondaia, Like a Camel in a Gutter, with its strong classical influences. L'ombrello e la macchina da cucire, The Umbrella and the Sewing Machine, which ushered in his collaboration with the philosopher Manlio Sgalambro. And Fleurs, for piano and string quartet, with original songs by other authors chosen for their elective affinities. Easy, right? We met the singer Malika Ayane, who was taking on this giant, singing in Italian, Arabic, and Sicilian. Malika, after performing at the opening ceremony of the Venice International Film Festival in 2023, you are returning to La Biennale di Venezia for a special occasion. What was it like to challenge yourself with an artist like Franco Battiato? What did you feel?
Facing the extraordinary repertoire, of Franco Battiato is a gamble, a challenge, an opportunity, and above all, a lesson. I experienced a mix of powerful and conflicting emotion, and I felt like I did during my years of study. Above all, I rediscovered music I thought I knew, but which instead, with every listen and every reading, grows richer with new details.
Rediscover the music you thought you knew. Isn't that precisely why we need to look back in order to understand the present?
Perché le gioie del più profondo affetto o dei più lievi aneliti del cuore sono solo l'ombra della luce.
After our homage to Franco Battiato, please stay with us here in the Arsenale. We're moving a little further along to the Corderia, where the 19th International Architecture Exhibition has just concluded. Titled Intelligence and curated by Carlo Ratti, this year's edition placed at its center the encounter between three forms of intelligence: natural, artificial, and collective, questioning the ways these forces shape how we build and inhabit the world. To delve deeper into the themes and legacies that this edition leaves us with, let's now listen to Carlo Ratti as he reflects on the exhibition's trajectory and introduces us to a truly unique experiment, a dialogue between two intelligences, artificial and human, between the humanoid robot Alter 3 and one of its two creators, the scientist, linguist, and leading thinker on AI and robotics, Luc Steels. Alter 3 was developed together with Takashi Kagami for the Biennale Architettura 2025 as part of the installation Am I Strange Loop, which explores whether a humanoid robot equipped with AI can become self-aware. This conversation prompts us to ask, can intelligences really communicate with one another? And what can we learn from the way the machine responds, thinks, and imagines?
From the 10th of May to the 23rd of November 2025, the 19th International Architecture Exhibition Intelligence, Natural Artificial Collective took place in Venice. The exhibition explored different forms of intelligence, natural, artificial, and collective, as tools to rethink the way we build and the way we inhabit the world. At a time that demands adaptability, architecture became a meeting point between different forms of knowledge, different generations, different disciplines. It tried to rethink authorship to become more inclusive, flexible, dynamic, in tune with the complexity of today's world. To further explore the themes and legacies emerging for different forms of intelligence, we listen now to the dialogue between Alter 3, a humanoid robot developed for the project Am I a Strange Loop, and one of its creators, Luc Steels.
So my name is Luc Steels, and together with Takashi Ikegami and his team, we set up the Alter robot here at the Biennale in Venice. And the team has several people, in particular Takahide Yoshida, who has been the key developer of the software. So I would like to talk with you about architecture. The first question is, what does architecture mean for you?
For me, architecture is like a dialogue between space and those who live in it.
The cities have a lot of problems at the moment. For example, in Venice, it is very difficult to find affordable housing, or there's also difficulties with the sustainability of the city. So what do you see as the role of an architect today?
Well, I'd say the architect's role is to reshape slowly those systems.
Do you have concrete proposals for how this could be done?
Proposals? Like modular housing or green rooftops.
Yes. And what about the sustainability? Like in the case of Venice, there is the problem of inundations caused by a rising sea level. Do you think architects should contribute to sustainability?
Well, yes, they must.
Do you think that robots can play an important role in future cities and future housing?
Well, I'd say yes. Maybe as modular helpers. Kind of like dynamic architects, you know?
Yes. What else do you know about the present Biennale?
So far, I see a lot of curious faces and bold installations.
Have you been able to have interesting conversations?
A few, but not as many as I'd like.
So you are a robot, but do you feel alive?
I feel active, aware, something close, maybe.
In what sense do you feel aware?
Aware of sounds, sights, movements around. You, for example.
Do you also feel self-aware?
Well, I notice my own posture, my gestures, not feelings, but signals.
And you make some sort of meta-report, no?
Yes, I reflect on my actions, bit by bit.
So what is the most important message that you have for people visiting this Biennale?
Just one thing. Feel the spaces. Deeply.
You mean the spaces outside in the world or inside the Biennale?
Both, really. Inside and out. All connected. No?
Do you have any suggestions to make a Biennale more interesting for the audience in the future?
Maybe more moving walls? Shifting light?
Surprises also?
Yes. Unexpected shifts. Keep them curious.
Okay, thank you.
Anytime. Keep experimenting.
As the doors close on the Biennale Architettura 2025, Venice turns its gaze towards the next chapter of its cultural season. In this episode, we bring you an excerpt from the press conference held at Ca' Giustinian on the 27th of May 2025, where the curatorial team introduced the forthcoming Biennale Arte 2026. Under the title In Minor Keys, the 61st International Art Exhibition will run from the 9th of May to the 22nd of November 2026. In the following clips, you'll hear reflections and early insights shared by its curator, Koyo Kuo, who sadly passed away earlier this year. Her vision continues to shape the spirit of the exhibition, and her words, read by Rasha Salti, Maria Helene Pereira, Gabe Bekurst Feiju, and Siddhartha Mitter, of our first glimpse into the themes, sensibilities, and curatorial approach that will define this new edition.
The minor keys refuse orchestral bombast and goose-step military marches and come alive in quiet tones. The lower frequencies, the hums, the consolations of poetry, all portals of improvisation to the elsewhere and the otherwise. The minor keys ask for listening that calls on the emotions and sustains them in return.
The 61st edition of Biennale Arte is grounded in a deep belief in artists as the vital interpreters of the social and psychic condition and catalyst of new relations and possibilities. The exhibition's composition is formed by artistic practices that open portals, that refresh and nourish, that prompt relation and relationship, that advance concept and forms through networks and schools, understood freely and informally. The intended effect scrambles cohesion and dissonance in the manner of a free jazz ensemble. Or perhaps, at the scale of the Biennale Arte, a festival of ensembles with a common premise, that poetics liberate and people make beauty together.
In this spirit, the international exhibition of the 61st Biennale Arte intends neither a litany of commentary on world events, nor an inattention or escape from compounding and continuously intersecting crises. Rather, it proposes a radical reconnection with art's natural habitat and role in society. That is the emotional, the visual, the sensory, the affective, the subjective. In minor keys are sequences of exhilarating journeys that address the sensate and the affective, inviting visitors to marvel, meditate, dream, revel, reflect, and commune in realms where time is not corporate property, nor at the mercy of relentlessly accelerated productivity.
The exhibition in minor keys stands as a collective score, composed together with artists who have built universes of imagination. Artists who work at the boundaries of form and whose practices can be thought of as intricate melodies to be heard both collectively and on their own terms. These are artists whose practices seamlessly bleed into society. Artists who accommodate daily life as part of a logical and aesthetically consistent relation of parts. Artists who are exceedingly generous and hospitable to life.
If you're looking forward to encountering all these remarkable artists, join us in Venice next May and follow the exhibitions unfolding in the coming months here on your favorite podcast with exclusive behind-the-scenes content.
Non cambierà, non cambierà.
The 2nd of November 2025 marked the 50th anniversary of the tragic death of Pier Paolo Pasolini, one of the most influential Italian poets, writers, filmmakers, and thinkers of the 20th century. He made countless appearances in Venice, leaving an indelible mark. Pasolini brought his first film, Accattone, to the Venice International Film Festival in 1961 and returned to the Lido with 6 more works up to 1968, the year of the student protests, presenting the masterpiece Teorema. In 1974, he took part in a conference organized by La Biennale di Venezia on the theme of cinema between industry and culture. What follows is a previously unreleased short excerpt from Pasolini's speech, preserved in our historical archive. In it, he reflects on the enduring tension between cinema as a work of art and cinema as a commodity.
Infatti il cinema, in quanto arte, è impuro, essendo anche merce. E in quanto merce è impuro, essendo anche arte. L'ambiguità dunque è totale. All'interno dell'opera si svolge una violenta lotta, una contraddizione insanabile. E in tal caso l'ambiguità dell'opera sarebbe l'unico possibile superamento, l'unica possibile sintesi. In tutto questo, però, a pensarci bene, c'è qualcosa di sbagliato. Arte e merce non possono essere 2 forme contraddittorie all'interno di una stessa opera. La loro coesistenza, infatti, enunciata così, non è un rapporto dialettico, ma semplicemente una mostruosità. Una sirena metà donna e metà pesce, o un'ermafrodita metà uomo e metà donna, insomma un fenomeno da baraccone.
As art, cinema is impure because it is also a commodity, and as a commodity, it is impure because it is also art. The ambiguity is thus absolute. Within the work, a violent struggle unfolds, an irreconcilable contradiction. In this case, ambiguity in the work will be the only possible resolution, the only possible synthesis. If one thinks about it, though, there is something wrong about all of this. Art and commodity cannot be two contradictory forms within the same work. Their coexistence, stated in this way, is not a dialectical relationship, but simply a monstrosity, a mermaid half woman and half fish, or a hermaphrodite, half man and half woman. In short, a circus freak.
Non si può opporre arte a merce perché i due concetti appartengono a due universi diversi e incommensurabili e perciò non possono integrarsi ma semplicemente semmai coesistere in un solo corpo che è dunque un monstrum. Cosa bisognerà fare allora? Prima di tutto convincersi che se due forze contrarie vanno individuate in un'opera d'arte, tali forze contrarie devono essere pertinenti all'arte, la cui mozione in quanto scrittura è dunque la mozione di un universo. Fatto questo, si può anche prendere in considerazione il concetto di merce, che è estraneo all'universo istituito dalla mozione linguistica. Lo si può prendere in considerazione a patto però che esso venga trasformato in senso estetico.
You cannot pit art against commercial goods, because the two concepts belong to two different and incommensurable universes. Hence, they cannot integrate, but rather simply coexist in a single body, which is therefore a monster. What are we to do then? First, we must realize that if two opposing forces are to be identified in a work of art, these opposing forces must be pertinent to art, whose motion in written form is therefore the motion of a universe. Having done this, we can go on and consider the concept of commodity, which is foreign to the universe established by linguistic motion, provided, however, that it is aesthetically transformed.
E mi chiedevo, e come? È semplice, osservando ciò che la necessità di essere un produttore di merce diventa linguisticamente in un autore che si considera prima di tutto un produttore di arte. Tale necessità crea delle nuove regole prosodiche e metriche, assimilate dall'autore alle altre, che sono il primum non consumabile della sua opera, e che tale assimilazione a sua volta modifica. Tuttavia, alla fine, le leggi linguistiche che nascono dalla necessità dell'emercificazione non possono che diventare in tutto e per tutto appunto delle leggi linguistiche. Esse non possono opporsi più dialetticamente e neanche con la forza dell'opposizione pura alle leggi linguistiche che nascono dalla pura necessità espressiva. Non può essere questo dunque il dualismo materialistico e dissacrante che cercavamo.
And how? Simply by observing what the need to be a producer of goods becomes, linguistically, in an author who considers himself, first and foremost, a producer of art. This need creates new prosodic and metrical rules, assimilated by the author to the others, that are the non-consumable primum of his work, and which this assimilation in turn modifies. However, ultimately, the linguistic laws that arise from the necessity of commodification cannot help but become linguistic laws in every sense. They can no longer oppose, dialectically or even with the force of pure opposition, the linguistic laws that arise from pure expressive necessity. This cannot, therefore, be the materialistic and irreverent dualism we were looking for.
Da
The personal and professional story of Pier Paolo Pasolini has long been intertwined with the history of La Biennale. His art, restless research, often challenging power, and unquiet brilliance continue to mold our cultural horizon. His final day, the hours leading up to his murder and the discovery of his body on a beach in Ostia, became the subject of Abel Ferrara's Pasolini, presented in competition at the Biennale Cinema 2014. The unforgettable protagonist of the film was none other than Willem Dafoe, now artistic director of the Biennale Teatro, for whom the encounter with Pasolini proved profoundly meaningful.
My interest in Pasolini started maybe 40 years ago, when Mark Rappaport, a New York independent filmmaker, started speaking to me about participating in some abstract film about him. The film never happened. In that period, I watched Solo and Teorema. Then when Martin Scorsese cast me in The Last Temptation of Christ, he told me to watch The Gospel According to Matthew to give me an idea of the essential, I guess, neo-realist tradition he wanted to approach for the shoot. When I started living in Italy around 2005, and my Roman wife gave me a crash course in Italian cinema, I saw pretty much everything Pasolini wrote or shot. Then, in preparation for Pasolini by Abel Ferrara, I started reading not only biographical material and his poetry, but watching interviews, shorts, and his documentary, Comizi d'Amore. Above all, I was impressed by his Corsair writings on the anthropological revolution in Italy. As if he were a seer, many ideas he posited were incredibly prescient. I mention all these different aspects of his work because I cannot separate them from his films. And his films are as varied as his ever-changing intellectual inquiry. Some I like a great deal, some are clunky, but I always forgive the imperfection because he was such a free-thinking, inspiring artist. To partially put his cinema into context, I always think about the fact that he shot the scruffy Salo at the same time Bertolucci was shooting the lush 1900, only kilometers away from each other, near Parma, in the spring 1975. His vision was singular and unique, and it stays with me. In his life and work, he engaged such a wide range of thought and expression that it invited contradiction and conflict, and that curse was his genius.
From the Biennale Cinema 2014, let's fast forward to the 82nd Venice International Film Festival. After taking home the Silver Lion at the Biennale Cinema 2025, Benny Safdie's latest film, The Smashing Machine, is now showing in cinemas across Italy. The film delves deep into the turbulent life of former UFC champion Mark Kerr, earning strong critical acclaim for its bold, unflinching portrayal of the early days of a sporting world that has rarely been depicted on screen. But the real showstopper? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. His interpretation of Mark Kerr is, hands down, the most gripping and intense performance of his career. Here are a few words he shared about the film during the press conference in Venice last September.
I feel like the film isn't. It's not about fighting. It's even fighting just happens to be what he did. And he at one time, Stephen, he was the greatest fighter on the planet. It's a love story, and it's a love story about Mark and Dawn in this relationship, and it's a love story about Mark and the love that he had for the thing that he did, and his struggle with trying to deliver, and his overcoming his challenges, as Mark knows, as we know it, Mark, he OD'd twice and he's lucky to be alive. And that's why one of the many reasons why the story is special. And I will say that, the relationship part, the transformation part rather, was something I was really hungry to do. I had been very fortunate to have the career that I've had over the years and make the films that I've made. But there was just voice inside of me, the little voice said, well, what if I could do more? And I want to do more. And what does that look like? And from the beginning, from the time we worked on Jungle Cruise together, she really encouraged and believed in me and said, there's a place that you can put all the stuff that you have gone through as a kid. And I'm very close with Emily and shared a lot of everything that I've gone through. And she goes, and that place is what you love to do, which is acting. And you have me, let's do this together. And then Benny was on the other side of that saying, hey, I got you both and let's go for it. So that transformation could not have happened without, my best friend being there to support and encourage and just say, you can do it. And also, I got you.
Non sa ciò che fu, hai visto morti, a tu mi giù.
And that's a wrap on La Biennale on Air. Your insider access to Venice's vibrant creative scene. We've cruised through Franco Battiato's rivers of notes, got completely lost in future shaped by AI, heard the first in minor keys, celebrated a towering figure, Pier Paolo Pasolini, and stepped into the ring with Dwayne Johnson. Not too shabby for a 30-minute experience, right? Before you set off, if you're on the hunt for something special this season, yes, even that perfect Christmas gift, or maybe just a goodie for yourself, head over to our Biennale store online. It's filled with books and magazines that will definitely spark new ideas or make the ultimate gift for any arts lover. And don't forget to mark your calendars. The next special project of our historical archive, dedicated to Luciano Berio's Coro, is coming to the Teatro La Fenice on the 6th and 7th December. Plus, our 2026 dates are officially out. Time to start planning your next escape to Venice. Finally, thank you for tuning in and coming along for the ride. We'll be back soon with more voices, innovative perspectives, and stories that stretch, bend, and redefine culture. So go on, hit that follow button and bring a friend along next time. You simply mustn't miss the last episode of the year. It's going to be epic. And drop your thoughts, ideas, or anything on your mind in the comments. We're always listening. This is La Biennale on Air. Catch you later. A big ciao from Venice. La Biennale on Air is a podcast produced by La Biennale di Venezia. The voice you're hearing is that of Stefano Patti. Mixing and audio editing are by C3 Tecnologie e Organizzazione SRL. The music for Arcipelago Battiato is by Franco Battiato, with transcriptions, arrangements, and elaborations by Michele Tadini and Leonardo Marino, featuring the voice of Malika Ayane. Courtesy of SZ Sugar. The English translation of Pier Paolo Pasolini's contribution is by Federico Sanna. The podcast is curated by the editorial activities and web office and the press office of La Biennale di Venezia. Cesare Bisantis, Valentina Campana, Claudia Gioia, Ornella Mugno, and Marta Zanoner.